The Ember Pact, Montana Territory, January 1884. The cold didn't knock. It barged in like a thief in the night, silent, relentless, and hungry. 12-year-old Clara Hayes woke not to the crow of a rooster or the creak of floorboards, but to the sound of her own breath crystallizing in the air. Outside, the wind howled like a wolf with a broken leg. Inside, the cabin held its breath. The fire in the stone hearth had dwindled to a single ember, glowing like a dying star in the belly of the stove. If that ember went out, they were all dead by dawn. Her father, Elias, was already on his knees before the hearth, his calloused hands trembling, not from fear, but from the sheer discipline of restraint. He didn't rush. Rushing killed fires. Rushing killed people. "Clara," he whispered without turning, "bring the tinderbox," and the pine splinters from the top shelf. She slid from beneath 3 quilts, 2 buffalo hides, and a wool blanket her grandmother had woven in Vermont. The floorboards bit into her bare feet like teeth. She didn't flinch. Complaining was a luxury for people who lived in towns with street lamps and steam radiators. The tinder box sat beside the hearth bone-dry cedar shavings, curled birch bark, and a square of charcloth blackened in last autumn's harvest fire. Every piece had been chosen, dried, and stored with the care others might reserve for wedding rings. Elias arranged the kindling like a cathedral airy, balanced, sacred. He leaned close and breathed, slow and steady, as if coaxing a secret from the earth itself. A wisp of smoke curled upward, then flamed thin as a spider's thread licked the cedar. "Good," he murmured. "Now the oak." Clara handed him the 4-arm-length log, split along the grain so it would burn clean and slow. No pine for the morning fire. Pine was for emergencies, for kindling, for foolish men who wanted a blaze and didn't care about the creosote it left behind to choke their chimneys. As the fire grew, her mother, Miriam, rose from the bed in the corner, still wrapped in layers. She checked the water bucket frozen solid and sighed. "Snow-melting day again. It's -38, Elias said, not needing a thermometer. His bones told him. His lungs told him. The way the frost feathered the window panes told him. Outside, the world was white and sharp enough to cut skin. But inside, heat began to pool near the hearth like a living thing. Clara's little brother, Finn, stirred beneath the furs, his nose red but his breath steady. Their dog, Scout, lay curled against him, a furnace of muscle and loyalty. By sunrise, the cabin had warmed to 45, not cozy by any modern measure, but survivable. The real work began. They had lost 2 cords of wood when the roof shed collapsed under last week's ice storm. Now, with another blizzard brewing on the western ridge, every log mattered. Elias and Clara would cut more today if they could reach the woodlot before the storm hit. But first, repairs. Miriam mixed a batch of chinking in a clay bowl, creek mud, wood ash, and the last of the horsehair saved from last spring's shearing. "The north wall's weeping again," she said, pointing to a thin trail of frost snaking down the log seam. Clara fetched the trowel. They worked in silence, pressing the mixture into the gap like surgeons sealing a wound. This wasn't just patchwork, it was armor. Every crack sealed was a degree saved. Every degree saved was a log preserved. By mid-morning, father and daughter set out, bundled in rabbit fur mittens, wool caps pulled low, scarves wrapped tight. Their breath froze in rings around their faces within seconds. The forest was eerily still. No birds, no squirrels. Even the wind held its breath beneath the pines. They felled a dead hickory perfectly seasoned, dense, and dry. As they bucked it into stove lengths, Elias taught Clara how to read the wood. The silver-gray bark meant 2 winters dead. The clean snap of the grain meant it hadn't rotted. The weight in the hands meant it would burn long into the night. "Fire isn't just fuel," he said, sweat steaming off his brow despite the cold. "It's a promise, a pact between the living and the dead. We honor the tree by burning it well." They loaded the sled just as the sky bruised purple. "Storm's early," Elias muttered. "We run." They made it back with minutes to spare. Snow began to fall, not gently, but in thick, furious sheets that erased the world beyond the porch. That night, as the blizzard screamed against the walls, the Hayes family huddled in their warm nest, a quilt-draped space beneath the dining table, bodies pressed together like kindling. Finn slept between Clara and Scout. Miriam cradled a heated river stone wrapped in flannel at her feet. Elias kept watch by the fire, feeding it hickory logs one by one, banking the coals beneath a layer of ash to slow the burn. Sometime after midnight, Clara woke to the sound of splintering wood. Her father was breaking apart the old rocking chair. "The fire dipped," he said simply. "Better a chair than a life." She joined him without a word, fetching more wood from the lean-to, her fingers numb but her mind sharp. They knew the signs. They knew the stakes. By dawn, the storm had passed. The world glittered under a new skin of snow. The cabin stood intact. The fire still glowed. Later that week, they walked 5 miles through the cold to the Henderson gathering, not just for warmth, but for wisdom. There, Clara watched Mary Henderson demonstrate how to spin wool with a drop spindle so fine it could trap air like a bird's down. She listened as Old Man Patterson described how he lined his boots with dried sphagnum moss to keep his toes from blackening. And when the McClintocks arrived, pale, thin, their children shivering in threadbare coats, Clara's mother handed them a pouch of pemmican and a pair of fur-lined mittens without a word, because on the frontier, survival wasn't a solo act. It was a covenant written in embers, sealed in snow, and passed from hand to hand, generation to generation. And as Clara lay that night beneath her quilts, listening to the wind settle into silence, she understood. They weren't just surviving winter. They were outthinking it. One log, one stitch, one breath at a time. So if you get comfortable with my video, take a moment to like this story and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you tuning in from, and what time it is. It is always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world.